What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hello, I'm alive. He's alive, and we are here for this totally unprofessional and incoherent podcast. We're not doing a Reason We're Born, as you can see by the title, because I'm too depressed and just not fucking in the mood right now for politics, especially after what happened this past weekend. I think that's broken me even more so. The passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. God damn it. We're not going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about just stuff. Happy stuff. Maybe. I hope it stays happy. Shit. Anyway, I'm here with my co-host, Cardiacsumo. How are you doing, sir?
Happy. Just
You look happy over there showing off the guns and everything.
oh God, no.
Ladies, you single?
Yeah, there's a reason. There's lots of reasons. Yeah, we've been gone a while. I'm sure I've mentioned it a couple times on the last couple podcasts, but trying to cut weight since pretty much the pandemic lockdown shit started. I think I've dropped 50 pounds so far.
You've dropped 50 pounds?
Since February.
Why? You're skinny as fuck already. I think I've gained 50 pounds. Fuck you. Jesus.
I mean, the fact I look like this now after 50 probably shows that I wasn't, but
interesting.
Yeah, probably still going a few. I probably hide it well.
That is very interesting. Well,
last year or so, I put on quite a bit, so.
Fucking bug in here that's flying that's going to annoy me now.
It waited till you started. But yeah, I'll probably keep going a little bit.
I've gained weight and gained gray hair, and this motherfucker's over here.
Succumbing to the stress, man.
Just tell me about it. I've also started to get the quote-unquote Owens effect, I like to call it. My father's side of the family has this weird way of graying. I don't know if you can notice it, but you notice how like I kind of got a what's the name of the dude on My Hero Academia, Half Fire, Half Ice?
Oh, Todoroki show.
Yeah, Todoroki. Yeah. Look at my hair. And do you notice something? But we do that. Like one of my sisters, she has this huge gray, like rogue type streak in her hair. She's had it for years. Like that's how she started graying in. We just do that shit. Now I'm just basically Two-Face over here with the hair.
I laughed at you, but it sounds pretty good on a woman. Anyway.
Well, yeah,
because you said rogue, and I'm like, oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Stay away from my sister, goddamn.
I'm just saying, like.
But, yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. But I guess we could talk about the video games. Now all the consoles for next generation have been introduced fully. Their pricing, their release date, specs, all that stuff. It's just a matter of, I guess, people buying them now. Yeah. Which is still weird because I really thought that they were going to push them back, but man.
Push them back because of the COVID stuff?
Yeah, because I would have thought that production would have been really messed up and all that. With games being delayed and stuff like that. Well, some games being delayed.
I mean, yeah, that definitely could have happened, but I think they saw the way the world was going. They were like, you know what? They need to see a light at the end of the tunnel, guys.
Yeah, but a light that maybe we can't afford the way things are going. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, somebody texted me just a bit ago lamenting that they couldn't get the pre-order. I'm like, the second they announced the pre-orders for PlayStation, and I saw Twitter exploding about it, I was like, you know what? I don't need the stress.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in detail, too, because that's been a lot of fuss. I guess since we're going to talk about video games, it wouldn't be fair not to talk about the Xbox. Even though I know you're not interested in one, I'm not interested in one. but I do feel like they should get, the attention as well. But Microsoft's their review was kind of weird, and I still maintain this. It wasn't a fucking leak. For those who don't know or don't remember, people were waiting for the prices and release dates of these consoles, and all of a sudden, a site called Windows Central and some YouTuber, I forget his name, started coming up with leaked information and shit like that. Basically said there's going to be another Xbox coming out that's going to be $300, and then the Series X, which is the one that they announced, going to be $500, and it's all coming out November 10th, whatever. I think that's the release date. November 10th, and Microsoft kind of played it up because they sent out a tweet where they put a meme of a Muppet giving this okay look and all of that, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the night they were like, here you go, this is the video you've been waiting for. Yes, there's an Xbox Series S. Yes, it will be $300. Yes, Xbox Series X is $500, and yes, you're getting them all on November 10th. Pre-orders coming up September 22nd. So, there you go.
A little corny to me because I looked at their Twitter response and they were like, "Well, fuck it, it's out."
That's why
let's make it official.
That's why I say it wasn't a leak. I think they just wanted to test the temperature and see what people would react to. And then if people were like, "Oh, that's some bullshit. This don't sound cool," oh shit, let's not say anything, and change up the plan. Seriously, because they got people very, very hyped off of the idea of a quote unquote next gen Xbox. And I say quote unquote because we'll get to that in a little bit. A next gen console coming in at $300. And able to play all the games, including their backwards compatible. They could still hit to their backwards compatibility and all of that. People are just like, oh wow, I don't have to pay $500 to get the new. Cool. And I just think that price kind of got people so hyped that they were like, yeah, we'll go ahead and announce it. With people not realizing that may not be as rosy as you think it is. Although I don't think people really care. They just know that it's a $300 console to them. But for me, I would never buy that. There's no way you're going to get me to buy that, because it's funny because a lot of people have lamented that in ways you're better off trying to find an Xbox Series. I mean, not an Xbox Series, an Xbox One X. See, this is going to be the problem with Microsoft. Whoever's in charge of your marketing, please fire them. Fire the fuck out of your marketing department. Because for the last since 2013 when you introduced the Xbox One, your marketing department has really, you can make an argument that since the 360.
I was going to say.
Your marketing department has been utterly, ridiculous with the naming conventions. And it's funny because I was listening to a podcast today, and they just reminded me why the Xbox 360 was called the 360. You know why the Xbox 360 was called the 360, sir?
It was the all-around entertainment system.
No, that's a smart answer. It's a dumb smart answer, but at least it sounds smart, to some people. No. So, and it makes sense when people say this, because this was, I guess, still back in the Shane Black days. And those who don't know who Shane Black is, Shane Black was basically the guy who helped create the Xbox. And he's famous for wanting to create the Xbox to bury the PlayStation, because he used to work for Sega, and Sega blamed the PlayStation. Him and his ex-Sega buddies who came over to Microsoft, they blamed Sony for losing their jobs at Sega, even though Sega folded because Sega was some idiots. and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing at the time, and they folded themselves. He kind of had a bone to pick with Sony, so his whole thing with Xbox is to get back at Sony. Anyway, moving forward, when the next Xbox was coming out and the PlayStation 3 is coming out, apparently somebody got in their head that we need to figure out a way to name this, because PlayStation 3 means that it's their third thing. Xbox 2 means we're only our second thing. So what's a number bigger than 3?
All of them above 360 is definitely bigger than 3, though.
So there you go. That's why you have the Xbox 360.
Fair enough.
Just like you got Xbox One because they wanted to create the one box that everybody would use for your TV, your movies, your gaming. It's the one thing that you'll only need.
I would take your point about their marketing and extend more than just the naming, because at this moment, I don't really know what S and X are supposed to mean, but you've got this stuff that they've got going on with their what's that service called? Xbox Game Pass or whatever that they have on the console and the PC, and whatever deals they're doing there for the next gen, and whatever upgrade thing that they announced a while back. Like, this is a lot going on there, and it's really confusing. I was playing a game with some people a few weeks ago. I think it's called Drake Hollow. No. I was watching somebody stream Wasteland 3 or something like that. But whatever, you get on the PC to Xbox Game Pass, or you could play it on the console, and they were different things, I guess. So it was just kind of confusing, how they relate, or if they're cross-compatible. They seem to be cross-compatible there, but not cross-compatible with Steam. It just, even though it's a Windows thing, it's just kind of...
You got to get it through Xbox Game Pass or through Windows Store to be cross-compatible with the console, right?
I believe so, yeah. But if it was in Steam, it's not cross-compatible with them, even though it's also running on PC. So it's they're moving more to the PC realm, which is kind of getting confusing because there's other shit there that they're not really attached to. Right. So it's making their entire ecosystem kind of confusing.
And nobody likes the Windows Store, so it makes it harder for that. It's confusing. But no, it's funny too, because in the same podcast, they brought up the fact that Xbox has always had these weird naming conventions, and it's kind of made everything confusing through their whole history. Because you look at, I guess you could say Nintendo has kind of done the same. Although I will argue that Nintendo, with at least, has done their naming with each generation. It's you have the NES, the SNES, you have the N64, you have the GameCube, you have the Wii, you have the Wii U, you have the Switch. It's always come in an interval, but with Microsoft, it's kind of been weirdly interchangeable. So I looked up the list of the names of their consoles up to date, and this is in order. And mind you, this is only the 4th Xbox, but listen to the names as I run this down. It's the youngest of the consoles, of the major consoles. Yet it's got about the same amount of consoles as Nintendo has, if you don't include the handhelds. You have the Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox 360S, Xbox 360E, Xbox One, Xbox One S, then the Xbox One X. Now you're going to get the Xbox Series X, and as well as the Xbox Series S.
I didn't even remember that we had multiple versions of the 360, so I had to go back and look.
The last one coming out right before the Xbox One, oddly enough. So, but I think,
especially when they exist near the same time, because Nintendo's naming has never really confused me that much because they've essentially been one at a time, but at a certain period during their handhelds, they got the DS and 3DS and 3DS, this, that, That was the only time it got confusing for me when
Yeah.
they started introducing a bunch of flavors of the DS.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it's been fairly easy because it's only been one thing at a
Maybe
time.
that's why Xbox does what they do, because they hired the marketing agent for Nintendo's handhelds, and they came up with this. But you gotta think, that's a lot of that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different consoles or variations of consoles since 2001 when the first Xbox came out. If you go console only with Nintendo, again, NES, SNES, N64, GameCube, Wii, Wii U, Switch. They have more consoles than the Nintendo has had, and the NES came out in 1983 or something like that.
Yeah, there's no good explanation for it, and I'm not not part of the console wars or anything. I'm not just trying to shit on Xbox, but it is confusing. Like it's
and that's why I brought it up and that's why I think there's going to be confusion coming around now because they're too similar. Like we got on Nintendo when they had the Wii and the Wii U, and we're like, yo, it's a little too bit close. And to your point about the handhelds too, like the DS and all of that having the same pretty much name except for a change of a letter to signify the variant. It gets confusing. And I think this is going to be the most confusing of all because at least in previous years, like say last generation, you had the Xbox One come out in 2013. 3 years later, the Xbox One S came out. And then a year after that, the Xbox One X. So there was kind of some space, but now you're going to have both of these sitting on the shelf as your next generation console. And with the naming conventions as well, it's going to be hard because for us, or for hardcore gamers, being able to differentiate is not going to be that hard because we're fucking nerds about this shit. You know what I mean? But for that parent who wants to get their kid, or for those gamers who just want to play games and aren't that seriously deep in the whole, minutia of it, walking into a store to figure out what new Xbox to get is going to be confusing because S or X, mom don't know what the fuck is different between S or X.
My mom called everything Nintendo for a long time.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Let me get that new Nintendo. Like, what? I asked for the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Dumb question. But since you're very up to date with their naming conventions, what do S and X refer to? Like,
it's funny because again, the podcast I'm listening, they kind of lamented over this because before you kind of got an idea of what it meant, or at least you could kind of figure out. Like with the Xbox One, that was the original, right? The Xbox One S was an improvement. And then the Xbox One X was an improvement, but you couldn't really tell that by the names unless you knew.
But what do
whereas
the letters
back
S
with the 360,
X?
Yeah, before when it was the Xbox 360 and the Xbox S, you knew it was I guess the special edition one where it. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know the difference between those two. Shit.
I've been glad to. I guess it doesn't matter. I can just say S stands for super and X stands for extreme. That's what
they were saying. It's shouldn't S stands for standard? But it's no, it's not. I guess because again, you had an Xbox One and then you had an Xbox One S, so you can't say that's the standard. Some people speculate that maybe now, with the S, maybe that's is that the standard?
Because the fact that we're asking this question is a problem.
Because the X was announced first, right?
Yeah.
For this generation. And now the S, I don't know. I honestly do not fucking know anymore. Because I could tell you, like, from what I sort of remember from the 360 was, I think the S was like the first time they came out with a console without a hard drive. I mean, without a disk drive, maybe. I'm not sure. Shit, now I gotta look this shit up.
Maybe it stands for slim. I don't know, but
yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it is. It was a smaller one. I think that's exactly what that shit is. But the E was the one that didn't have that hard drive, and you had to put a flash drive in. It was like just a mess. It's like a dumb idea, in my opinion. It's like, wait, you're giving me 2 like fucking gigabytes of space, and I got to use a flash card to add or external to add space to play games. What? It was so weird. It was like, why would you put some shit like that out? But
I was making a much more petty point though, which is just that phonetically they like the letter S and X sound pretty similar. So like if your mom goes out there into the store and she's like, "Give me an Xbox," you're like, which one? They're totally different consoles, like. That's what I was saying. Like, what do they stand for? Because to me, if you're gonna have those, then just say Xbox Super, Xbox, or Xbox One Super, whatever the fuck you want to call it, versus Xbox Extreme or whatever you want the X to be. Like, use words that don't, or phrases or whatever that don't sound so close to each other, because that's even more confusing. Because sometimes I hear people talk about it like in videos or on podcasts, and I'm like, what one did they say? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's just. Wait, sorry. For some reason, I have the news on because I was watching football, and it looks like they're doing some debates or something. Come on TV, and I'm like, wait, what? I thought it was presidential, but it's Virginia debates. Whoa! And now they're showing the sight of Tracy Ross Ellis in this dress. That, good Lord, girl, your titties are just all. Anyway,
misogyny.
Sorry, I got distracted pleasantly.
Speaking of misogyny, I mean, never mind.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's been some misogynic behavior on Xbox towards women on Xbox Live. I guess that's a good transition. Anyway, but yeah, no, that whole naming thing is just. I don't get it, and it's going to be very, very confusing. And I'm glad I don't work retail because having to explain that to a mom is going to be really bad, especially if you don't necessarily know or you don't get it right, or if you don't understand, because they're not going to understand if I tell them, okay, well, this one doesn't have a disc drive. Like with the PlayStation 5, you could say the difference is $100 less. They just have to download all their games. There's no disc drive. Whereas this one that's $500, you can buy disc and put disc in them. That's it. That's free. It's the same thing.
Are they
one has a disc player.
Different things?
No, it's just PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 digital.
Yeah, I don't. Do they even call it like? It's so similar. It's not even worth changing the name.
Yeah, I know. Usually when they list it, they just say, well, it's kind of like a subtitle thing. It's like PlayStation 5 Digital Edition.
Sure.
It's not like it's not like the PS5D. No, they're not doing some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, one thing that's nice when I look at again, Xbox people, I'm not trying to shit on you, but like when I look at the PlayStation 5, it looks almost exactly the same minus the bump for the space for the disc drive. Whereas I look at the Xbox, whatever it's called, One S and X, and they're like completely different machines. They're like,
right. So that's another thing too, honestly, because some people are going to look at the aesthetics as like, why do I want this big fucking shit? I want to get the small one, not knowing that the small one isn't going to have a disc drive, doesn't have as much hard drive space, and is not as powerful. Because, all right, so moving away from marketing and all of that.
I would just like to say one thing in there Defense or Microsoft's Defense or whatever. It's like their Xbox Game Pass, whatever, is a pretty decent thing to have. Like just the games you get access to for the like $5 a month or whatever. So I first tried games like Routed and stuff.
Not $5 a month.
I went to the 15. I can't remember.
So and it's funny because it's not going to be $5 a month anymore on PC either. So Ultimate is $15 a month. That's the one that you're going to want because, again, you don't want to just get Game Pass. If you get Game Pass, it's $10 if you just want Xbox only games. So if you're that person who just want to play games for your Xbox console, that's it. Xbox Ultimate does PC, console, and it gets you Xbox Live now. And it also gets you EA Play, which added itself to that now. And it gets you the cloud service that they have. That's if you get Ultimate. If you just get the regular one, you're just going to get access to the free games in the library for the console. If you get the $5 PC thing, which is going up to $10, by the way. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they're going to raise the price. So if you don't have Game Pass for PC, get it now while it's still $5 a month, or else you're never going to get it at the price again. Yeah, and that will just get you PC access to games that are on PC only. So
which might be fair enough because when I tried it, it did say it was like a beta for PC or whatever. So yeah, it was a while back. So maybe I'm not knowledgeable enough to like talk it up. At the time, I liked it. I tried a couple games or whatever. It was $5 at the time. It wasn't the worst thing ever. But it sounds like even that is becoming confusing, which I already said it was confusing. So yeah. I tried so hard to give a compliment and it just turns into a criticism.
But I mean, basically, you would probably just want to get the Ultimate thing anyways, because you're going to play games online. You're going to need that. And they're kind of phasing out, because last I heard, they were kind of phasing out Xbox Gold cards. Like, you couldn't buy certain ones. So you're going to kind of need Game Pass, I think, to play.
They're in for a rough time, man. They within the next few years, they're going to, like, really have to combine and coalesce a lot of this shit to a simpler format.
Yeah, but well, I think at least for me, like, and again, this is where it gets confusing for me, and this is someone who's knowledgeable. So, specs for the Xbox One X versus the S. So it's really, really weird because they pretty much have about similar speed processors. But after that, it's just totally different. So and stay with me here because I'm going to confuse you. So the X is going to come with a Blu-ray drive, 4K Blu-ray drive, 16 gigabytes of video memory, and a 1 terabyte hard drive. It'll be able to do ray tracing. It'll play games up to 4K and potentially up to 8K. You can get some games to go up to 120 frames per second, depending on the game and how it's set. It's going to support backwards compatibility for every Xbox console. So whatever's backwards compatible, it'll be on there. You don't, have to worry about that. They're doing this thing where they're getting publishers to, if a game comes out on the current system, as of now, you'll be able to kind of freely upgrade through this game delivery service. I forget the name of what they call it, but that's the gist of that. Now the S. So, and this is, keep in mind, the S doesn't have a disk drive. That's one big key difference, right? So the diskless console has a 512 gigabyte hard drive.
Really?
Yes.
Are they designing it to like stream games more than like download them locally or something? Like why?
Nah.
It seems it seems kind of confusing. That's kind of the opposite of what I would expect, since you can't have any storage on disk.
Now it does have an expansion, and the X is going to have expansion. All the current consoles are going to have an expansion option because they have like their own custom hard drive, so they're going to have either expansion slot for the new custom hard drive, which means you're going to have to get the Microsoft brand hard drive if you want to use the expansion slot. And I believe they're going to have some external support too, so you can do that as well. But you kind of would want to do the expansion because it'll be faster transfer rate. So, but you'll be able to expand to a 1 terabyte. We have a 1 terabyte expansion card put in if you so choose. So that helps, but that kind of lifts up that $300 price that's looking so good to everybody.
Do you know what their proprietary expansion thing is going to be?
Well, it says it's just a Generation 4 NVMe SSD. But the speculation is Microsoft's going to make you buy, like, kind of how, like, during the 360, when they had expansion hard drives, you had to get the Microsoft expansion hard drive to use on it.
And I guess my point was it wasn't cheap. I don't remember how much it was back then. But
no, it wasn't cheap. I forget what it was, too, but it wasn't cheap.
So it's like, say it was like a $50 or $100 or something, like, all of a sudden you're inching closer to the Xbox X price anyway to get the same amount of memory.
Yeah, exactly. So the memory, the RAM on it, where Xbox Series X has the 10, has the 16. This only has 10.
Okay.
So the memory's less. It is not, you guys have to keep this in mind, it does not play games in 4K at all.
The S?
Yes, the S. The highest resolution is 1440.
Which isn't awful, but no, it's not 4K.
So it's not a 4K machine at all. Which a lot of people are speculating is going to be weird with the backwards compatibility thing, because if it's supposed to play Xbox One games, well, the Xbox One X is a 4K machine. So any 4K game that came out on the One, does it mean it's just going to scale down or never be able to scale up? Like, how does that work?
I don't. I mean, I guess it just wouldn't play if it came out on like the original one.
Yeah,
it's fucking naming. If it came out on like the generation before this one, and you wanted to play it on that one, I guess it wouldn't like. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be able to scale up to 4K. It would just play whatever.
And I've read articles where they said developers are quietly complaining because they were like, "Yo, this machine is basically a bottleneck for us." Because now we got to make games to play on all their consoles, because that's what Microsoft wants you to do. Play on all their consoles. And because this is the new one, we have to scale to this. And a lot of people are saying, in comparison, you're better off getting an Xbox One X than to get this. They don't make Xbox One X no more.
What?
Oh, you didn't know? They discontinued They've discontinued production of all consoles from this current generation.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
With the except for, yeah.
I was thinking of Xbox Series X.
I know, because I said
I think
X,
you're
and
right.
I keep forgetting there's two X. But as of now, the only Xbox One that they make, and that they're going to continue to make for some reason, is the Xbox One S. Not the X, which is the latest, but the S, which came out in like 2016 or something like that. So currently, In production are the Xbox One S, the Xbox Series S, and the Xbox Series X. I know. I know. I know. I know. But everybody's saying that this is going to probably be lower than the X because they're saying they're supposed to have like 4 teraflops of power, which I've never been clear on teraflops, but everybody got hooked on that teraflops number. Okay, if it's putting out 4 teraflops, well, the Xbox One X puts out 6. So, and the Series X puts out 12.
I don't know what that is. So
yeah, I don't really understand that, but everybody says that's such a big deal. Well, it's only a third. The new Xbox Series S puts out a third of its other new one and puts out like a third less than the old Xbox. It's so fucking weird. But it'll still do ray tracing.
The S does ray tracing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It don't do 4K, but it'll do ray tracing. So that's a plus.
Maybe they felt like it was necessary, especially when you got games like Ratchet and Clank on the other side showing off ray tracing.
But that's going to be a 4K game with ray tracing.
I mean, fair enough, but you don't need to be in high resolution for ray tracing. But
no, you don't. But a lot of people will couple that. You know what I mean? Like, people aren't going to say, well, I don't need that. I just need the ray trace because the ray trace is what's going to count the most. People aren't going to say that.
Fair enough.
Because because of the way that things are like put out as buzzwords.
Sure. I mean, it would still look nice and be useful, and
right.
Maybe they feel the need to support it. Just like if I was a developer on that shit and I needed like a feature in my game that heavily relied on ray tracing, and you're saying it's not going to even exist on the other form of your console,
right?
That could turn into a fucking issue. Because if it's just ray tracing for the sake of, you know, getting reflections and shit like that, maybe it doesn't matter. But if you have like some sort of creative feature that's like central to how the game works, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, no, it'll help with the lighting and all of that stuff. So. But yeah.
I wish I could remember some of the games they've got going on. But
who?
Xbox. There was some nice, a couple eye catchers, I guess, when I watched it.
Like, I think Ori is going to be a game that's going to look really, really good on the X. But at the same time, Ori looks good anyway. Like, that game's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of just a weird thing. Like, I really feel like they shouldn't have introduced the S. At least not right now. Like, I think they would have been just as well as do just like Sony did. Put out a disc and a discless version of the same console and let people decide, do I just want to spend $100 less or not? Like, I just feel like this S thing is just going to like fucking, it's going to sell well because it's cheap. So for them, it's a win in that area. I mean, seriously. Because again,
it will.
With the confusion of the market and with the people who aren't hardcore into this, they're going to be like, fuck, I need to spend $200 for it. It's like I kind of said in a video I did. There's going to be a bunch of people who are going to be like, look, I just want a new console, but I don't want to spend a lot of money. Will this play Madden? Will this play Call of Duty? You know, that's pretty much all I play. Like, it's a couple of sports games and a couple of
if you're just the kind of person who plays like 2K and a little COD or whatever, like, you're not going to freak out.
Yeah, like, I'm not trying to, like, keep up with the Joneses and know all these new games and stuff like that. I'm not, like, waiting for the new Halo, the new Gears, and all that shit, or any other third-party things other than the shit I like to play.
I was watching somebody stream I can't remember what fucking game it was. It was like just the other day, but they were like, man, this shit look bad different on PC. And when they said that, like in the comment section, I was like, well, yeah, I guess there's people that really just don't, they're not like, you know, like you said, hardcore deep into it. So they don't really notice that like PC is kind of its own ecosystem that has like a bunch of mods on shit and fucking must have been GTA because you got modding and whatever you can do, whatever graphical improvements you can do with whatever graphics cards you have. So I think if you're not like aware that there's more that can be done, you're not gonna miss it. And if you only play like 2K on console, you're probably not gonna even know that you can push it further anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And then some of that stuff you're not gonna really care because, like, I know we hear a lot of fuss about frames per second and all of that, but a lot of people don't really like. Again, I'm just playing Madden. Fuck, I care. Especially if I'm not like professionally competitive or hardcore competitive about it. I don't give a fuck. I don't care that I'm running. I mean, and Call of Duty is a game that's always ran at 60 frames per second. So, I mean, they don't care about that. It's not like there's a like Battlefield differentiating thing where you're better off playing it on PC than console because you're not playing it at all.
I would say, like, if they were that hardcore, because like general consensus is it's better to be able to aim with a mouse than analog sticks anyway. So if they were that hardcore about it in the first place, they'd probably be on PC, and it would be a moot point.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't matter. I think the marketing strategy is because they made the S look like speakers, it's going to tempt you to buy two of them so you can put it on either side of the X.
So instead of spending $500 for the X, you spend $600 for two S's and have matching bookends. Awesome.
They'll probably like some mom will go into the store and be like, "Oh, I guess it's like a surround sound system," and she'll just pick up several of them and place them around the house, and you'll be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I think right now the thing they probably should push the most is their payment plan. You were aware of the payment plan thing, right?
You mentioned it.
Yeah. So
I think it's like a 2-year plan.
They have something called Xbox All Access. Yeah, it's basically works like a cell phone payment plan. So you can finance your Xbox consoles right now. You currently can finance an Xbox One S. And if you want, you can upgrade to the Series X. Same thing with the Xbox Series S. You can finance that, and then if you want to upgrade to the Series X, you can do that as well. And you'll be able to finance the Xbox Series X. God, that's so much to be saying. Anyway. But, the prices, I believe, range between $15 to $25, $30 a month, depending on which one you decide to finance. Included in the financing is you'll get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So that comes along with it. So that's kind of a nice deal. I worked out the math, and you'll save a couple of dollars. Like I think you'll save something between $20 to $40 between the two. Sort of, kind of, because if you work in the cost of it over the 2 years that you're paying for the console and Game Pass minus the $20 to $40. So,
I mean, I've never liked to do that sort of thing, but people got different financial situations. You got COVID going on.
Now, I don't know what the details are of the opting out because I don't know if you can opt out of the 2 years. I don't know anything like that.
I mean,
are they going to do like a cell phone company and like if you try to get rid of it early, you got to pay an exit fee or some shit like that? But they're going to have stores do this. Like you could go to Best Buy and do the financing.
Hopefully that goes smoothly for people that wanted to do that. I'm good. I mean, some people are hyped about it, so good luck to Microsoft. Do your thing.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, again, if you want to pre-order this, you got to wait till
a couple of days, right? 22nd.
It's the 22nd tomorrow as of recording because today's the 21st.
It's tomorrow from his point. It's still 9 p.m. for me.
I'm in the future. I forget.
Yes. Over here on the West Coast, it's still the 20th.
Yeah.
But September 22nd, pre-orders for the Xbox family Goes, I'm not gonna try to say those fucking names. I'm sick of
Yeah,
it. I'm done.
I know.
Fuck it. I'm tired of it.
I know it's very, very tiresome.
If you want an Xbox, hopefully you understand and you know what to get. I'm done.
Yeah, that's basically it. All right. So Sony, who is much simpler, since their invention has decided, let's just add a number. God bless you, Sony. Like the most complicated that Sony has gotten is this generation, which is the PS4 Pro. Yeah, so I'm good with that. I think most of us are good with that.
Even that wasn't that bad. I understood it. It's like, all right, it's a PS4 that's stronger. Can do 4K, whatever the fuck it was at the time.
Yeah, and like Pro, it's an easy
self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I don't have to sit there wondering like which one is supposed to be better. Like obviously, it's like what do you call it? Windows 10 Pro or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Versus Home. Like it's clear which one is supposed to be.
Yeah, the professional or the home edition. What do you pick your poison? So, but yeah, so Sony, after Microsoft came out, decided they need to come out and do a little showcase. To which they showed some games and stuff like that before they decided they got to the price and release date, which everybody was clamoring for. And it's funny because I found it very, very hilarious and annoying how the internet was going off after like that Microsoft quote unquote leak. Like, Sony, what are you doing? You gotta say something now. What's wrong with you, Sony? I'm like,
fight back.
yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, calm down. Like,
it was like a rap battle, and like Xbox just dropped its bars, and then somebody in the crowd like, fight back.
I guess. So Sony decided to fight back, and you will get the PlayStation 2 days after the Xbox on the 12th of November. You get the standard edition that comes with the disc drive for $4.99. The discless version is $3.99, which I think is perfect pricing. Unless you know what is what, and it's up to you to decide which is which. There's no differentiating in as far as what the console can do. The specs are down the line the same on both of them. It's just one has a disc, one doesn't.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So if you're a retail worker, that it's an easier sell.
You guys look at it like, oh, this one has the discount.
Yeah, like see that hump? Yeah, that's pretty much really all you can say. See that hump? That's where the disc goes. That one don't have the hump. Like, oh, can I play with the same games? Like, yeah, you just gotta download them. Oh, okay.
You got internet, don't you? It's 2020. Come on. I know not everybody has internet apps.
Yeah.
God bless them. Nice and simple. I don't know when I'm going to get one, but sometime eventually in the future.
Well, this is the funny thing, though, because you weren't planning on getting it at launch anyway, right?
No.
Yeah. So, of course, you can't get one because this is where Sony's fucked up, I guess, in a way. I don't even know if it's Sony. I'm trying to figure out, like, who to blame for this shit. Because after it came out, Sony put out a tweet saying, like, tomorrow you'll be able to pre-order it. And people were like, okay. Then fucking Jeff Keighley got in the mix and started tweeting shit out. Like, hey, I've heard a rumor that from some of the retailers, they're going to be doing pre-orders today instead of tomorrow, so keep a lookout. That's when the internet went fucking crazy. And then these stores decided, you know what? I guess Keighley got them buzzing. Let's go do it. I don't even know why these stores. If I was Sony, I would have like went to all the stores after Keighley said that shit as quickly as possible. Like, tomorrow. Don't do fucking shit till tomorrow. God damn it. But then all of a sudden you started hearing, hey, GameSpot says they're doing pre-orders. Oh, yeah. Best Buy said they're going to take them today. Go ahead and go to their website. Oh, yeah, Target says that too. Like, and it's like, wait, I thought this was going to happen tomorrow. everybody started releasing their pre-orders, and like the internet went nuts. People jumped on. They went to the stores. They stood in lines. Like, yo, you do realize this pandemic, motherfuckers? Calm down. But no, everybody was flooding the stores. I saw people taking pictures of lines at stores. And yeah, these people just standing at Best Buy are like right now, waiting to get that pre-order shit. You know, it's like, God. And of course, they pretty much all went as fast as possible.
I'm not worried about it.
People got upset because, you know, they were like, Sony, what are you doing? Why would you do that? This is an absolute mess. Because sites were breaking. Of course, sites are going to break. You just said that you like people you can buy the new hotness. And I'll guarantee you sites will break with the Xbox too. Let's not get it twisted. Once it hits midnight, the day of release, motherfuckers are going to go nuts who want that shit. Yeah. So sites are going to break. You can't blame Sony for their sites breaking and shit like that.
I mean, that's another reason. Like, I didn't even look at the pre-order. Not just because I wasn't going to get it at launch, but you get used to things with that much buzz breaking sites. You think we'd be better at it, but yeah, they always break. Or like when like certain wrestling shows or whatever do like a show and their websites break down because of the buzz, like a Wrestle Kingdom or first couple of AEW shows or whatever. Like, you just got to know that if it has that much hype in the air, it's going to fucking break. Or it's going to have like some kind of bug where you get in and you can't like get through. It takes forever to load. Like, it's not worth the stress. Fuck that.
Well, one site technically didn't break. Amazon didn't break. But they sold out fast fuck. Because it was funny because I was up and I was about to go to bed and I saw somebody I know say, "Oh, thank God I never clicked the Amazon link as fast like this." Like, oh, they did that. Let me see what's going on with their site. And as soon as I clicked on it, this had to be about 30 minutes after the announcement that their pre-orders were up. That shit was like, ew, it's unavailable. I was like, good Lord, what the fuck are y'all doing? Jesus Christ, people, calm down. Like,
what is the pricing? The 400 and 500, right? You said?
Yeah. So it's depending if you want a disc or not. And again, there's no differentiating in the specs. They're both going to be 4K machines. They're both going to have the potential to go up to 8K. The ray tracing, same teraflops. Now, one thing that's very unique, I guess, in comparison to the Series X is the hard drive. Sony's going to only have an 825 gig hard drive instead of a full terabyte one. They have said in the past about their hard drive that it's some type of specialized hard drive. Just like their processor apparently is something that they had made. It seems like Sony pretty much everything in the PlayStation 5 is kind of custom made to what they wanted AMD to make it. I don't know. I mean, that's funny. I'm looking at the specs, by the way. Like, so if you get the diskless version, 0.6 kilograms is the difference weight wise. What is 0.6 kilograms in pounds? Because I'm not European. I don't know that. Oh, wow. That's interesting. So the diskless one is about 1.5 pounds lighter. The fuck is in that disk drive? You muted yourself, by the way.
Fair enough. Sorry. I was clicking some shit. Empty space that's worthless.
And that's the thing. That's so you would get the digital. You're okay, right?
Yeah. What you should have done is kept the hump and just
now
put more memory in there.
Me and you are in a disagreement as far as how the system looks. Anyway, I don't particularly care that much for the look. Not that it makes a difference because it's a fucking video game console. I don't buy it for beauty. If you bought consoles for beauty, you should have never bought a Nintendo console up until never. Probably up until the Switch. Switch is
the
about
Switch
the
doesn't look
cleanest.
bad.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, Switch is probably the cleanest looking Nintendo console because all of their consoles are configured weird as fuck.
I mean, the GameCube, cute little lunchbox.
It's a fucking block. Yeah, exactly. Like you got a fucking brick. And you put a handle on it so I could swing it and clock somebody after I lose a golden eye.
I honestly, I had one for the longest time. I didn't realize what somebody meant by lunchbox until I saw somebody pick it up by the handle. I was like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
That's what that's for? It's so weird. Nintendo's so weird.
Like, because why are you carrying this shit around like that anyway? What the fuck?
Fucking Nintendo. Freaks.
But yeah.
Prices are fine. I like the look of the console and the controllers.
I guess this is my racism because I just don't want it to be white.
Yeah, you're racist. You're definitely racist.
No, but seriously, it's because you gotta keep that shit clean. Like, you can barely see the grayness on top of my PlayStation as I think I need to dust it. Yep, I'm touching it now. I need to dust the shit. But you can't really see it until you look up on it. Why? Because it's black. It hides everything.
That means it's good that it's white. It'll make you get off your ass and dust it more often.
Console made, and then the controller's white. You can't eat while you're gaming. How the fuck is the Dorito? Where's the Dorito
Don't
dust?
do that. There you go.
Where is the Dorito dust going to hide, people?
Nowhere. Stop eating Doritos.
I can't eat buffalo wings in game.
They should charge more now because it's not just a gaming system. It's also improving your habits.
Watch Sony comes out with the PS5 cleaning kit for $20. Everybody's got to buy to properly care for this shit. That's why you did it, Sony. I know what you're doing. Trying to get some extra dough out of it.
Teach you assholes responsibility is what it's going to do.
Bullshit. But I mean,
That's it. If somebody wanted to, get me a PS5 and send it my way.
Please don't be one of those guys talking about I just secured my PlayStation by getting with some girl. By the way, that joke is not funny, by the way.
I was laughing because the idea that I got with some girl.
Right? No, I'm not saying you laughing at what I just said. I'm talking about the joke of how people be doing those memes. Like, I got my PS5 and they put a meme of some women that's basically unattractive.
Oh yeah, it's fucked up.
And all that shit. It's not cool.
It's I don't know. I don't know where they get those pictures from or if they're stock or something, but I just see those and I'm like, y'all need to stop using other people's pictures without their permission like that for your jokes. It's not cute.
Especially for legal, something as corny as this.
Well, I mean, to your point, the implication is that they're not attractive. The whole joke is you got with them because they're your PS5 provider. So
right. Well, I've seen guys who say stuff like, yeah, my girl says she's going to give me a PS5 and all that stuff. So your broke ass can't get your own shit? Okay. All right. That being said, if somebody wants to buy either one of us a PS5, just out of kindness, I mean, I ain't trying to use or abuse you, but if you feel like you want to be nice enough, that's fine. I'm not trying to play games with people shit.
I mean, you're not going to get anything out of it. I'm not going to stream it. So you would have
I would stream that shit. If somebody bought me a PS5, I would feel obligated to do a lot of stuff as far as content-wise. Because that wouldn't be fair. I said content-wise. I made sure to clarify that. I made sure to clarify that.
I mean,
because I ain't trying to go down no dark rabbit hole. You're not gonna find me. There's not gonna be an OnlyFans site of me showing what I've done for PS5. Okay, let's just get that fucking clear. All right, I will do YouTube videos and I will stream on Twitch. I ain't fucking nah.
It's gonna be a new category on all the sites. Just what do you do for that PS5? gonna be dark shit.
And like, no, you're not gonna go on Pornhub and see man perform sexual acts while playing PS5 or some shit. Nah, nah, you ain't getting none of that shit.
I'm open to negotiation. Anyway. I mean, I like, I want to play Spider-Man.
Now that's the thing. So you can still play Spider-Man because it's coming to PS4.
Yeah, but I want to play it on the PS5.
Now, a lot of people are mad, or at least a lot of people are fake mad about that shit.
What, that you can play on the PS4?
Yeah. Because Sony came, I remember when people were asking, they did an interview with Sony, and Sony was like, it was when the whole backwards compatibility thing was coming up, and Sony was answering that question. They were like, why don't you do like Microsoft do, I guess? And Sony's like, we're kind of a generational company. We do believe in separate console generations. We don't always like to have stuff being backwards compatible. Like that, I guess. Well, they didn't say that, but I guess in so many words, they were just like, we just don't make a big deal about it because we are always going to like want our new shit once we come up with a new console to be played on that new console. So when people heard that Miles Morales and Sackboy and a couple of other games that were announced are going to be on the PS4, people were like, oh, that's just horrible. So Sony don't really believe that. That's bullshit. And to me, I'm like, so last I checked, games that came out in the same year of a console generally came out on the previous console as well. So
that's
why is this a big
unusual
deal? To further point, I didn't see nobody crying about God of War 2 because, God of War 2 never came out on PS3 until the God of War collection, right?
Is that true? I think
yes, it's very true. PS3 came out. No, PS3 came out a month or two later. God of War 2 came out on the PS2. It was never a title on the PS3 until they did the remastered.
Oh no, you're saying PS2 didn't, or God of War 2 didn't come out on the PS3.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yep, you're right.
Yeah. Not until they did the remastered.
Yeah,
and it came out in the same year. It came out like I said, a month or two later after the PS3 dropped. So they could have technically put it on the PS2, but they're like, nope, it's a PS2 game.
Yeah, I don't give a shit really.
So no, it's like, okay, so a game that they've probably been developing for the last couple of years for the PS4 is coming out on the PS4 and PS5. So what's the problem?
If you're one of those people that likes to play like retro games or something, it would be nice if
But no, it's
what's
just
that streaming thing they have? The big PlayStation.
Oh, Now.
Is that Now? Yeah. Something is there. Like if they could expand that, that'd be nice. But like, I don't really give a shit.
I just found it false anger because you're still getting on the PS5. So
sure, but the idea that
two, if they didn't put it on, like let's just say if it came out now, the argument would be, well, aren't you going to put it on the PS5 too? And what if they said, no, we just made a PS4 game? Y'all going to scream about that. If it just comes out for the PS5, like God of War is going to come out, somebody's going to scream, well, I can't afford a PS5. I want to play on my PS4. Why can't you do that? It's a no-win situation. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, but like the notion that like releasing it on the PS4 proves that they don't really subscribe to the idea of having like more discrete generations. It's like, if you want to bitch about that, you should have been bitching the whole time. Because to your point, that's how they've kind of always done that.
All consoles
games that are on the border of transitioning may show up on both consoles.
Usually the release year is that year where you're going to get shit coming out, like either on both or maybe on the older. And it's generally not going to be like, well, we're going to just make it for this.
Sure,
I
people are like,
cannot think of any game during launch on the PS4. Well, that's exclusive to the PS4, I should say, because I think this is where people are having the confusion. Is like with these exclusive things, but I cannot think of any exclusive that did that within the same year. So
I don't, it's not a big deal. it's
it really isn't, because you complain about a game that you're going to buy anyway. So that's the way I see it. Like Miles Morales, whether you get a PS5 or a PS4, what the fuck you care? You want that game, don't you?
I do. I'm probably gonna wait till I get the PS5 just because, like, you know, like we're talking about now, we're in that sort of transition phase. So a bunch of those games are gonna show up on the PS4, which you could say like, oh, just buy them on the PS4. But then when I get the PS5, I'm gonna feel like I'm at this weird period where I already played everything on the PS4, and I gotta wait for like that next year of like, because a lot of the bangers of a generation don't come out at launch; they come out like somewhere in the middle of its life cycle, right? So it's
Yeah. Now I will say this: one game that's coming out next year that is going to be on the PS4 and 5 is Horizon. But again, I feel like that's a game that's been in development for so long that I'm not surprised.
sure.
Yet I understand why God of War probably wouldn't, because, or at least we don't know. God of War may still do the same thing too, because I got to think that's been in development for a few years too.
They said that shit was dropping next year.
Yeah, I don't believe them, by the way. I really don't.
Felt optimistic. Maybe they were like, you know, next year, December 31st.
Yeah. All right, let's just transition to the game stuff of the showcase, because I'm tired of arguing about this whole like generation. Like, basically, my whole stance on the thing is look at the two consoles, see which one offers what appeals to you most, and get that. Boom. There you go. Go look at my YouTube videos for my breakdown. I have to upload it, but by the time you see this, it'll be uploaded on my YouTube channel. Because I actually do a breakdown of the difference between the consoles. So, yeah. There you go. Add views to my channel that I don't get revenue for. Anyway. So in the showcase, they had some games that they showed before they did the price thing. Final Fantasy 16 being a PlayStation console exclusive again, like it used to be. It was surprising, but it makes sense. I heard someone say like Square probably looked at the like sales numbers and were like, do we really need to put an RPG on Xbox? Xbox people don't play them.
During that, like when they were doing the live stream before that, you know, you had those like talking heads that always have to talk about the news coming up and make predictions and blah, blah, blah. Some dude was like, you know, we're hearing rumors that they're going to announce Final Fantasy 16, which is dope, but I'm pretty sure everybody wants to hear about Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 or whatever the fuck he said. Like, Jesus Christ, these fucking fans who can't, like, I don't know. I'm not going to get to a rant about nostalgia, but.
Yeah, you know, fuck them. That like, so, like, look, I thought Final Fantasy 7 was cool. I'm not that fucking, like, you know, I still haven't played the first part of the remake, probably because I kind of would like to wait till the whole fucking remake is out, if you don't mind.
Which is fine. I found it funny that he was talking about the rumor of a new game being announced, and he still had to slide in like, but that's 7 remake though. Like, y'all are like crack addicts. You can't stop.
I mean, technically, the remake is a new game, from what I hear. Like, they totally changed the story, which I find very, very odd.
Fair enough. I'm just petty, I guess. I don't
know. No, you're not petty. You're right. Like, a new Final Fantasy is what we need. A actual new Final Fantasy. Fucking Cloud was 1990, 96, whatever that year that goddamn game came out. That was him. That was then. Introduce some new characters, and I'm actually glad to see that. One, it seems to be like, you know, set in a more traditional Final Fantasy kind of way. I didn't mind 15. I actually like 15, but I'm glad it doesn't. It's not another modern era game, so to speak. Like instead of cars and like
Oh yeah, I
bad,
see.
like over the top technology, you're just getting the like mix of medieval and tech shit like you did before. And it also seems violent, which I find quite interesting. Like when that blood hit that little boy's face, I was like, oh. They're serious. Like, whoa, what?
That's what we need, man. More violence in video games. Shit has been too tame for too long. Mario needs to get kicked in the balls a little more often.
Luigi really needs to get him over Peach. What's the matter with you? You keep fucking chasing this chick. She's just using you. She's probably fucking Bowser. God damn it.
Jesus, we have to go there, but
I mean, she's
Mario's
always getting caught.
He's, video games, we're supposed to be able to relate. Mario's that those of us that can't get over that one girl.
This is true. This is true.
Which, and it's appropriate because in that world, she's a fucking princess and you're just a plumber. Yet you still have to do all this shit.
Right.
No offense to the plumbers. Y'all are important, all right?
No, I understand what you mean because it's like, when you're considered the lesser person, like in this like hoity-toity, like you think you're better than me shit is out there. Like, I'm a good guy. I do nice things. I got a job, a profession, a profession. I ain't rich like this motherfucker up in his castle. But at least I'm not mean and I'm not abusive like he is. But no, you're chasing his fucking ass and like again getting caught and going to his castle. I'm out here fucking jumping fireballs and goddamn like having to eat mushrooms to go on the like fucking psychic trip to survive fucking big ass bullets coming at me and fucking like walking mushrooms that want to eat me.
This is what happens when a game title exists for too long. You've had like decades to stew about this. It's just game after game.
Right. The next Mario
resentment building.
Mario gets over Peach and like you just see him just like, nah, you good. You stay over there.
Can you imagine if they just introduce a new princess and he's like, fuck Peach? And that's what the whole game is about. The internet will lose their shit.
Technically, they kind of did because wasn't there Daisy? And then it went to Peach?
That. Nobody remembers that.
And Daisy probably was nicer to him, but then this like fucking like effer comes in, just takes over.
This probably isn't a good tangent, but we just spent like 5 minutes just shitting on Peach. And she just sitting over there in her castle like, what the
Look, I mean, to paraphrase the 3-6 Mafia song, don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
There you go. Words of wisdom. Always to be found in rap. 3-6 Mafia.
Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't be a Captain Save Her no more, y'all. Anyway, moving on.
I don't know how we got there. I know we were talking about Sony and somehow we're on a Nintendo product.
One would think that I had some personal like angst inside of me that came out with video games. I'm just saying,
I was waiting for somewhere in that conversation.
It's not true.
For you to be like, and that's
fuck
why
you, Sarah. I can't. I mean, Regina, I'm sick of your shit. You shouldn't have never left me for that. No.
fuck Peach. She can go see David if I mean Bowser if she wants.
Yeah, no, we good. By the way, those are pain pills. Those are like, pills to keep me calm from my like I just noticed I just took some pills after this like fucking fake rant. People might like, yo, he must have had to like calm down. Take some Ritalin or something. Yeah, like he had to like take something to like ease his stress. Like, nah, it's not. So. Anyway, so that was probably the highlight for me from this thing. Well, that and at the end with the God of War teaser when they said that they were going to have Ragnarok, which I'm all about. But anyway, they also showed the Devil May Cry 5 special edition. Okay, sorry guys, I'm not. I don't think I've ever played a Devil May Cry game.
Either.
So I don't know it. Probably the most mistimed announcement in the universe was the Hogwarts Legacy game. Coming within days of J.K. Rowling's like new book, in which she makes the main antagonist a straight male who dresses up as women to murder people.
We've all been there, I guess.
Yeah. And the significance of that is that she has a problem with trans and queer people. She does not care for them, and so
I don't know if I go as far as to say she doesn't care for them, but she's certainly pissing them off.
I would say she don't care for them because her demeanor, like, yeah, she has a problem with them, which I don't know why. It's like, did your husband leave you for a transgender person or something? Like you're not a real woman. Like, oh, stop calling. You can't be me. That sounds like somebody who kind of like got, fucked over by someone. Hey, that's just me. Yeah. And you're a little too like, hardcore into that. But all right.
I guess it's hard to tell because the first thing she had said was like she was responding to some article that had referenced what was the phrase? People who menstruate, and then she was like, we used to have a word for that. What was it? And she was saying the word was woman or whatever, and then people came at her. She started to defend herself. It just kind of went back and forth. It just kind of escalated into this fucking thing that won't go away.
Well, yeah, because she basically came out and was like, yeah, nah, y'all not, I don't care for y'all. I think if she would have never exposed the fact that she don't care for them, she would have been fine.
I haven't paid enough attention to it.
And then she kind of pushed it over the top, too, with the whole, well, now I'm going to start the anti-cancel culture petition because you're just trying to cancel me. It's like, why can't I just say that you're an asshole and leave it at that? It's sad because I remember when I used to get more annoyed with people always wanting to cancel someone. But now I'm 3 times more annoyed by people who want to claim that they're being canceled when people go against what they believe or don't agree with them. It's so fucking annoying. Like, all you had to do is shut up and people still read your books. We loved Harry Potter. Now, ruined that.
I didn't care for Harry Potter, to be honest. I don't give a shit, but
in its time, it was cool for me. Which is, again, this Hogwarts Legacy thing. It's kind of ill timing on the fact that the creator of the world is fucking lunatic in a way, and people had kind of wanted to play this game years ago when Harry Potter was the hotness. Like, everybody wanted to play a game where they can be a wizard in Hogwarts and run around Hogwarts, and do wizardry things as student. And now it's just like Harry Potter is really not the like thing. And the only reason it's actually in the attention of people is again because its fucking creator is being looked upon as a lunatic. So might want to come up with this game about 5 years ago, people. I would say.
Time travel. I don't know. It might just be the answer is just to this. I mean, if she wanted to say something in response, just say it and then like not continue engaging because I don't think it gets better.
Well, that's the thing. She decided to have the running fight because even if she did feel that way, she could have said it, dropped the subject, and people were just like,
well,
yeah.
I think part of it was because I looked at a couple of her first responses when that first started happening. And I think she seemed kind of upset that, you know, they were suggesting that she had this huge beef with them. And she's like, I don't hate y'all. I just, you know, blah, 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 whatever she was saying. And I was like, look, if they're going to call you a transphobe, you might just have to let it. Like if somebody called, like, you know, say I was white or somebody called me a racist or something, I could say my piece and I'm probably just going to have to drop it.
She fought with them. That's the problem. She don't fight.
That's what I mean.
She could have just been, look, I'm not transphobic. It's not what my intent was. I was just trying to make this point. That's it. And then left it there. People kept coming at you. It's like, well, again,
right.
We were talking about this before we got on. The whole, my response to arguments. Like, okay. Like so after a while, it's like you ain't going to convince people of how you really feel if they are going to consistently ignore you. And I think she just let them get to the point where she kind of revealed that, no, I actually am this way, and I'm not smart enough just to shut up and just like not to ignore the internet, but being the internet.
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were, you know, mentioning this kind of phenomenon of like, you know, this sort of wave of social media coming at you, and he was like, I think what we need to start doing is, you know, you can say your pieces in defense, but you're gonna have to acknowledge that there are some people. And they were talking about race in that conversation. They're like, there are some people who are just going to keep coming at you and calling you a racist no matter what happens. Whether you are, you aren't. There's just, you know, some elements of the internet that's going to do that. You're just going to have to let that go and let that, you know, sail through that choppy water for a minute. Because you're not going to do anything really to change their mind anyway. So,
but you know what I find weird? It's funny because we're getting into serious shit. We should be talking about video games. But anyway. What I find weird is that generally I find people who actually are a certain way are the ones who can't give up that argument or that conversation. It's like Trump will argue all day on something because generally speaking, you're probably hitting a nerve with him. You know, whereas someone like me or you, we just be like, all right, bro.
I don't know that I was always like that. I remember I told you that story about like Riri Williams came onto the comic books.
Yeah.
And I got into this art. I said something like, because all the media sites were like.
Well, no, I'm not talking about stuff like that. Like stuff like that, like I think as nerds, it's kind of going to be inherited that you're going to argue that it's, or if you're very socially passionate about something, you kind of like, I will scream at somebody if they want to engage in an argument about voting all fucking day long.
The frustration there was like the race-based thing where I made some like offhanded comment, like, because all the articles were saying like, oh, she's Black Iron Woman or whatever. And I was like, you know, she's a character. We could talk about her more. I said it on Facebook, you know, we don't have to just talk about Black characters. It's just being the Black version of this. Because Riri Williams has a background that's interesting and people kept coming at me like I was shitting on her for being Black. And, you know, to your point about, like, keep arguing with it, like, I could have just said, all right, whatever. I just said, hey, I'm Black, but whatever. But, like, it is kind of frustrating when people keep, like, throwing labels like racist at you and you can't really do anything about it that would appease them.
Well, to be quite honest, you arguing back wasn't arguing the point. You were arguing the idea of that's not what I said, which
right.
I do that all the time, too. Like, because they're not making a point. They're not listening to what you're saying. They're taking what you're saying and they're using it. So that I can understand. But no, like, she went further than she needed to. But people, again, like I said, I find that people who really, really feel a certain way, they'll be easily drawn out because they just, I don't know. It's like it's easy to draw Trump into exposing himself because he just don't know how to let shit go.
Sure. All this to say that I don't give a shit about the Harry Potter game.
Like we got off on a weird tangent that was, which I guess kind of shows that who gives a fuck about the Harry Potter game.
I mean, to your point though, like it's getting a lot of buzz because of the J.K. Rowling stuff.
Which means that nobody's going to give a fuck about the game, and this game is going to get buried. So, good job, Warner.
Like, if y'all want to play it and tell me, if it's good, like, I'm not going to be like, you transphobe. But
well, yeah, but it's and I can understand why some people aren't going to feel comfortable because you don't want to support someone who.
Fine with that too.
Is a transphobe because
you don't have to buy whatever you don't want.
She's going to get coins off of this, so.
I was sure I wouldn't give a shit. Probably richer than God at this point. But
it's the Chick-fil-A conundrum. I tell you.
Oh, they're still open, so they're fun. They're still open. They're
fun.
But
you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, you don't like the things that they do, but you like their product.
Yeah, I don't like the shit Amazon does and how it affects, businesses and shit. But here I am with Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I'm not advocating being a shopper that's not ethical, but I'm just saying I don't have the moral stance to on you guys.
I don't know. I mean, they let you create your own character, which is kind of appealing.
They should not allow you to create black characters. Just do something like a really petty. It's not funny. I hope you can create your black wizards. Be the literal black magus.
I mean, they have a frame in this link that's on PlayStation Blog where it's a black kid. It's a little black boy. He's about to get hit by a fucking ogre before he does his spell.
They're super woke.
I mean, it looks cool. I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't. If you want to buy it, buy it.
I won't judge you based on that.
No, because if you're a Harry Potter fan and you want to play a Harry Potter, it's like, again, being a fan of the product and not the person behind it. I get it.
I always say that because I see this big debate about like, oh, if you don't buy, you're not supporting the developers. That's not fair, blah, blah, blah.
Which is true because it's funny. Again, the podcast I listened to, they were talking about the developers. Apparently, this company is kind of on the brink of getting shut down. And people are saying this is kind of like their last chance with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has been thinking about just closing them and letting everybody go. So this is like, yeah. Which makes it kind of sad because it's like it's probably a good game. It looks good. And it's probably going to get shitted on and these people are going to lose their jobs. All because of the association with it. That's so... I
can't imagine working there and being like, worrying about my job like that, but don't even work here. Like, why are we...
Right, because you got to think, this is a game that's probably been in development for at least 3 years, 2 or 3 years. That's how game development goes. So you got to think, they're all excited, and they're putting together this stuff, and they're probably like, yeah, it's almost ready to go gold. Oh, man. We're nailing this. This is going to be the fucking Harry Potter game that everybody wanted. I know it. We're going to market the shit out of this. We're going to get paid. We're going to not only save our jobs, but we're going to become one of the top studios under Warner Brothers brand. This is going to be dope. And then the whole fucking J.K. Rowling's situation comes, and it's like, oh.
It's like you're in a race and like 10 feet from the finish line, you look over, you see your mom with like a shotgun, she just blasts out your legs.
Yeah, exactly. Like, jeez.
Dead. But yeah, if we do talk about her more some other podcast, I'll try to read up more on it. Because I wonder, like, if people see me like not really being that like hard on her. Because
no, I mean they shouldn't, because you don't care.
I just haven't read too much into it. Like I remember seeing it happening, looking at her first few responses, and being like, whatever. Or maybe it's just because I tend to like compare that kind of stuff to, you know, the kind of religious people I saw growing up saying like, these people are an abomination, they should be killed, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, J.K. Rowling thinks whatever the fuck she thinks. Who gives a shit what she thinks? She's writing stupid ass books about wizards.
Another thing too is like, and I don't know much because I don't care. She said other stuff other than the transphobia stuff. I think that was kind of just a last straw, because I feel like I've heard her have other weird opinions that people didn't really like.
Sure. I guess because I don't think of her as important.
I honestly don't care about J.K. I will say that.
If she was like my mayor or something, I'd be like, well, let's hear this chick out and see what she's gonna say here. But like the lady who wrote the wizard books, like I don't give a fuck what she has to say.
Yeah, like I don't know, and I could be wrong. She may not have been quote unquote transphobic. I don't care. Like, I read Harry Potter years ago. It was a cool thing.
I will say this about like the people going after her about that new book where apparently it's a cisgender male dressing up as a woman. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't even comment on it because I haven't read into that either. But I just saw that. I'm like, he's the villain. He's doing something dickish to do some evil shit. Like, where's the?
He's a murderer.
Yeah, like it felt like they said, you know, she was taking a shot at them or something because of this whole thing. I'm like, I assume she's been working on this book since before that, and it's not like she's glorifying this motherfucker. He's the villain of the story. He's literally.
I'm curious if she has, because I didn't even know she had like some type of pseudonym like this.
Apparently, this is like the latest in that series. So like, she's done this fucking thing before. I mean, not this type of villain, but like, I think it's like the latest installment of some longer series. Doesn't sound interesting enough for me to read, but whatever.
Yeah, and it's just funny because as we're talking, I'm looking into it. It's like, it's just smarmy stuff like writing articles talking about we need to create a more equal post-COVID world for people who menstruate.
That wasn't her article. That's the one she was referring to, wasn't it?
Was it the article that she used? I don't know. Like, see, this is the thing I confuse. Yeah, it was the article that she was like, why was she triggered by that? Is what I'm curious.
I don't remember her being angry. She just had like some snide little comment about like, we used to have
that's what I'm saying. To
that.
trigger her to make that comment. Like, who cares?
I don't know. I would say the same thing about the comment. Like, I saw her say it and I was like, whatever. Like, I wasn't as mad about it. And I'm sure people are going to be like, well, it's because you're not trans. Like, I care. Just I've heard a lot more heinous things toward trans people. Maybe I should shut up before I get fucking killed.
I mean, like, well, I guess because, like, I just think she should have just shut her mouth to begin with. Like, just, like, leave it alone. Like,
sure. I mean, I guess the only thing I meant with that last comment, I feel like I'm coming off too flippant. It was like when I saw her say that, I was like, you know, if somebody could say like, why did she feel triggered to respond to that? I'd be like, why did you feel this triggered to respond to her? Because what she said wasn't that interesting either. Like, people started going to war immediately. Like, she's a super transphobe, blah blah blah. Like,
I guess the lesson, and we'll get off this because we just wrote the podcast, is that don't give a fuck about J.K. Rowling. See, please. Like,
sure. I can get down with that.
That's the thing. Fuck J.K. Rowling.
I think generally, like, be a little less bothered.
And I say fuck J.K. Rowling not in the way that a lot of people say, but in the I could give a fuck about J.K. Rowling, so fuck her.
Irrelevant, yeah. I
But
feel
yeah,
like
it's funny. Her height of her relevance is kind of crest by now.
A long time ago. I had the response to a lot of shit on it, especially because all the shit going on in 2020, being on Twitter, having to like unfollow all these accounts. I was like, you know what? I need to stop reacting to like everything I see on the internet. Like, especially like when Trump was getting elected on Facebook, I did that a lot where I would just like respond to all these articles. Like, you know what? It's not worth it. Like, it's just not worth it.
No, you should argue about Trump.
No, not him in particular. Just like every headline I see, every article I see, just having to respond. Like, yeah, some of these things.
Oh no, don't do that. Don't respond to everything. Like, yell about it, but I wouldn't respond to everything because
that's what I mean. Like when I see her response, I'm like, people who menstruate, you need to respond to that phrase. Not really. You could let that one go. Likewise,
and I think that's why I honestly think, like, again, we're jumping off this, but I honestly think that's why people reacted the way they did, because it's like, why the fuck
would you care enough to respond? Yeah.
Anything unless you had a problem. So, again, like I said, I think people who actually do have a problem tend to make that shit, like, kind of expose that shit to the point where it's like, yeah, you kind of put yourself in the fucking.
But for a different podcast, J.K. Rowling, you've ruined the podcast enough.
I know. See, this is why, again, you should say fuck J.K. Rowling, because
ruins everything.
Like, gosh.
I'm hyped for Miles.
He even ruined fucking, like, the Weasleys by killing off. Gosh, killing Fred. Why'd you have to kill the boy? Seriously.
Maybe that hit you guys in the book harder than it hit me. I didn't give a shit in the movies. I was like, aren't they twins? We still got another one, guys. Let's move on.
She killed his holiness.
Sorry. There's plenty of Weasleys to go around. That's all I'm saying. You're going to type me something dark. I feel like you got triggered when I said that.
No, I'm not typing something dark to you. No, I'm just like looking up Fred Weasley. They have the date of death, May 2nd, 1998. Oh, that's his date.
Childish. But yeah, Miles is the thing to be hype about. Partially because it's coming up first before Horizon 2, God of War 2. What else? I know some of you guys are hyped for Cyberpunk 2077. So you have to wait about 10 years for that, right?
No, Cyberpunk's coming out in November, which...
Nope.
I'm surprised.
I decided to move it back. I didn't like how I was excited you assholes were getting about Keanu Reeves, so I said, fuck you, and I moved it back. Because Keanu and I are mortal enemies.
No, it wasn't Fred who lost his ear. It was George who lost his ear. Sorry. George lost his ear and Fred died. God, that's a terrible thing to happen to twins.
See? And you remember which was which because they're twins, so it doesn't matter.
Well, it's funny because they found the perfect twins in the movie to play them because they really do look like each other. Like, they're dead on identical twins. Anyway. Wait,
are they not identical twins?
No, they are. They're like spot on identical twins. Like they got, which is so crazy because you don't really, how sometimes you can get identical twins, but there's just like a little tell.
Sure.
Beyond things like height. Like height, sometimes you can, but it's just, at least to me,
it's
you couldn't really tell.
It's really fucking weird. Like all the twins I've known, there's been like, I don't know if it's like a 1 pound difference in their body weight or like some little facial thing that's just a slight. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But they'd be like, I can't tell them apart. I'm like, they don't look the same at all.
Yeah. So, are you excited for Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach?
Nope. Don't give a shit.
Are you excited for Call of Duty Black Ops? The name is just so stupid. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Good Lord. Why? Why so many things?
Why? Just like,
why couldn't it be just Call of Duty Cold War?
because I mean, you could only really, outside of like whatever that one that was like in space or whatever the fuck it was, you can only really like do the warfare between like, I don't know, World War I or whenever they want to go back to like now. Advanced warfare, what the fuck it was called. Like, it's not like a big swath of human history for you to like go back and forth, and so you're just gonna keep jumping around in these little eras. And it's like,
especially since the Black Ops brand, which is, I guess that's why they keeping the Black Ops name in. But you had Call of Duty Black Ops, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, right? This is the fourth. I don't know. In any event, this one is now going back and to like this is like literally the sequel to 1, when the other 2 are sequels to 1, but they're further in the future, which I don't get. It makes no sense. How many Black Ops games are now? I have to look because I feel like this is kind of the Xbox like convention.
I should shit on it. I'm sure all these other people are like, "Oh my god, I'm so hyped for COD." And I'm just, why? Why are you hyped for COD? I haven't paid attention to COD in years. Minus a little bit of that battle royale mode they have now in Modern Warfare or whatever. Played a bit of that.
Call of Duty Black Ops is even worse. You went from Black Ops to Black Ops 2 to Black Ops 3 to there was a Black Ops 4. Forgot all about that. And now you got Black Ops Cold War. Okay. All right. So you went past, I guess, present, future, past, but future to the past you already did.
Okay.
All right, people.
Like, if you guys want to get it, I hope you enjoy it. But like, I just can't keep up with it anymore. I'm sick of it. Like every time I see a new one, I'm like, here we are again.
Yeah, it looks like a cheap action movie anyway. So
it feels worse. Well, it feels worse than the sports games, to be honest.
Cheap action movie. So no, Call of Duty is kind of worse than. It's funny too because as we're recording this, I think today is the last day of the free open alpha or beta for PlayStation owners. I didn't touch it at all.
Oh, yeah, I think you mentioned it to me the other day, and I was like, I'm good. I'll pass.
So if it's cool, y'all let us know. I haven't heard anybody or seen a lot of chatter on my timeline about it, so I guess that's good. Whatever. They also showed, of course, Miles Morales. We don't need to talk about that because it's the best thing ever. So, unless you want to talk about it,
could deal with a little less explosions in these sorts of. They were showing off the gameplay, and it's like power sets and all this shit, and he has the electricity. It's like one of his powers. So you see these like moments where like jump up and like slam into the ground with electricity, or like jump forward. I'm like, maybe when I play it, I'll like it better, but I don't tend to like. I don't know. It sounds weird because everybody likes these big ass explosions, and like I never like that in like movies or animations or anything.
Maybe when you play it, it'll feel different because seeing it, the feel of it.
Yeah, I'm assuming because like when I saw it, I'm like, there's just it's taking up so much of the screen, like I could barely see what's happening. So I didn't like it, but I'm still hyped for the game. But I'm hoping like when I get in there and I kind of get used to it and like trying to spot Miles through all the dust clouds and shit, I'll like it better. But like if you, that's part of the reason I didn't like the COD thing. Cause I'm like, oh, look at that, turn around, bang, explosion, turn around, bang, explosion. Like, not that it was anywhere near as annoying as COD was, but
no, because there wasn't an RC car that blew up a plane.
And then there was stuff happening. Like there's Miles as an actual character as opposed to just like a face with a gun. You got the Tinkerer as a character, whoever she is, because I don't think she's I'm pretty sure the original Tinkerer is like an old man. So unless I'm thinking of somebody else, so whatever revamped modern Tinkerer character you've got going on, His mom's going to be there. I don't know where Peter is in this, if he's going to be addressed at all in this world.
Maybe Peter took a vacation because, I mean, his aunt did die.
Get us to be in another part of New York, because I think they said he's.
Well, yeah, this is in Harlem anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I didn't mean like. I just meant if he's going to make any appearance or if he's going to say anything. Like, I don't expect to see him much at all since they're in like different. You know, New York is big enough for multiple spider people to. That's why Avengers fucking Tower is there, because all the bad shit happens in New York.
Yeah, New York seems to have like too much. And it's funny because he's in Harlem, but he's not in Hell's Kitchen. So you still got another part of like even where he's at that's got issues.
Yeah. So it is the one I am most hyped for still. And his suit is just so badass. I just need to put that out there for the millionth time.
Yeah, I like their design for his suit. Definitely cool. But we'll see. We will see. I mean, I already know I'm getting it, so whatever. And then they showed Demon Souls remake. I don't play Souls games. So.
Yeah. And even if I did, I'm not really, again, I'm not like one of those cats big on remakes, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was cool. We got the price. We got the release date. That's pretty much the biggest thing.
Yeah, the big highlight was that and the God of War announcement. Otherwise, a lot of it was just kind of like expanding a little bit on the shit they announced at their previous thing.
Yeah, I just feel like they just felt like, you know what? Let's put together some stuff, show some stuff, and then give y'all the price. As to not just make it just about the price, since that's all Microsoft pretty much did was like, you just saw like tweets and a trailer for the price and announced it. You didn't get anything else.
I'm not going to complain about more shit, but yeah, it's still looking good.
Yeah.
Still not tempted to try and pre-order it, but
well, they came out now. Here's the funny thing about the pre-order. Like I was saying, how they had the whole mix-up and stuff like that. Sony came out and apologized today or yesterday, and they said that they're going to actually put out some more allotments soon, and they'll let you know when it's out. So, if you want to pre-order, you still can pre-order. You have that option.
Oh, I'm good. I did see that. Like they're like, let's be honest, guys, it could have gone better.
But again, I don't know if I blame them or just because I'm curious to know, like, what's the background details? Did they tell these companies, "Oh, we said tomorrow, but go ahead and do this"? I feel like Jeff Keighley needs to. I get it; he wants to like show that he has information and all that, but he just next time somebody does something and Jeff Keighley tries to get involved. They just need to sit him down like, you need to shut your whore mouth and stay away from this. You know, I think he kind of helped fuck shit up. Yeah. But saying that it went bad, like, okay, yeah, it was messy. The site's crashing again. I still think that's going to happen on the 22nd. Shit's going to crash and stuff like that. People still going to do the shitty things that they've done before, like, you know, and they're not going to, unless Microsoft. I think the only way that you could say that there would be a big difference is Microsoft somehow has enough pre-orders to cover the breadth of everybody who wants some, because people are going to complain about that anyway, because they're not going to be able to get one.
Sure.
Yeah. Unless not as many people want an Xbox, then I don't know.
Come on, guys, help them sell out. You know, you don't want them to look bad next to their competitor.
I'm curious to see what the numbers are going to be like, because I know the numbers for the PlayStation it lends more to the disc-based one, although I found out that basically the disc-based one, they put out more than they put out the disc one. It's kind of like a 3-to-1 ratio right now as far as production, which makes sense because you kind of want to make people buy the more expensive one if you can. You know, it's sneaky, but it's, you know, business.
Evil business assholes.
Yeah. So they took advantage of people being pressed. Like personally, if I were to pre-order, I'd say I would lean towards the digital because I don't foresee myself ever doing game resales and all that.
Those days are over.
That was my biggest differentiating point with this. You know, I could say, well, what about when they stop supporting and take away digital based stuff? You know, the licensing thing, by the time it gets to that point, I'm probably not playing the game anyway. So, yeah. And I'm not a collector, so that would be the only reason to have a disc anyway, because they stopped supporting games, period. And I don't want to play, especially not these days, I don't want to play, God of War pre-day one patch. 10 years from now.
Jesus.
That's not gonna thrill me, knowing that it can't get patched. So, I had to get to digital.
Dragging everyone kicking and streaming into the future.
Yeah. Now, what do you feel about the price thing that Sony? I guess the next fake mad shit that people got on the internet.
People got mad about that?
Yeah, because they listed some of the games at $70.
Oh, I was a little surprised by it. I do know people were discussing the possibilities of that beforehand, so it's not like I hadn't thought about it. But if 70 is the new standard, I don't really see it as like a big change, and not just because it's a $10 difference, but just it feels fair. Like a lot of these games I've been buying the last year or so have been like 40, 50, 60, 80 hour games. Top tier shit. And I think it's just going to be like any other game you ever buy. Like, is it worth the amount of money to you? If it's not worth $70, don't fucking buy it. But I could see myself buying like the next God of War for $70.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how I feel about it. Games have stayed a standard price, and it's still, in a way, it's going to stay a standard price, which is funny. It's not like they're going to let them. And I know people get tired of me saying this shit, but it's not going to be like the Wild Wild West was back in the day, where games would be, between $50 and $80, $90 a pop. Again, we paid $80 for Streets of Rage 2. You can beat that game in an hour or two. It was just a side scroll beat 'em up.
I paid like $30 just a bit ago for some VR game I wanted to try out that's supposed to be like an hour. I feel a little gross about it, but I was like, whatever, fuck it. All right, I put Ghost.
Was it worth it, in your opinion?
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh.
I bought like just a bit before we started because somebody suggested it. Because I was like, I want to try out more VR games that like Beat Saber and Pistol Whip and all the shit I'm playing.
I mean, if it's worth it, fuck. I mean, but then you never can tell what's worth it.
No, I took the chance. I'm like, either it's going to be worth it or not. If it's not worth it, fuck me. I wasted $30. Well, life happens. I can move on from that.
Yeah,
not every purchase I make is perfect.
I just think that's just the deal, because if I tell you that this game is 100 hours and I'm only charging $40 for it, and this game sucks, didn't you just waste your $40?
I mean, I bought The Witcher for cheap, and you can say like, oh, that's worth it. It's supposed to be like the first Witcher. And at this point, the controls for me are just unacceptable. So I'm like, I wasted $5, whatever the fuck that was, for probably 100 hours or something. Like, yeah, I'm good. I'd rather die. I'm sorry, Witcher fans, but I can't deal with it. At least for that first iteration, I can't deal with it. I can't. I don't have it in me. When I was younger and I had like a little bit more self-hatred than I do, I would have done it.
Wow, he said self-hatred though. You had to hate yourself to play that game.
I was willing to put up with more. Like for example, I think we mentioned like One Piece or whatever in a chat once. And like they're into like 900 episodes or something now. But like, even back in high school, like I had to binge day and fucking night, nonstop. Like fall asleep in front of the computer, wake up, start the same episode back, and keep binging to catch up to that shit. That's self-hatred.
But
I don't have it in me anymore.
I mean, they're horrible. Like I told you that, and I was like, yo. And then you asked me, is it going to get better in 2? And I was like, nope. Because that's the real honesty. Like, yeah, those controls suck. Sure. Sorry.
But I say that to, say this thing about wasting money. Like, yeah, you could argue that I wasted $5 worth of the fuck it cost during that sale because I paid for it and I'm not going to play it. So it was probably going to, if I could stomach the controls, it would probably be like, 100 hours of enjoyment. 100 hours of content or whatever. Let's say that. I don't know how long it is, but if I don't want to play it, it's a waste.
Yeah.
And I didn't kick and scream and cry about it. Like, I just accept that as me making a mistake of a purchase.
Well, sir, that's because you aren't a real gamer. You don't kick, scream, and cry about shit that don't matter. So that's why you're not really into this shit.
I mean, people do that with like I have family members who like go to a restaurant and they, like, oh, I can't order this. Like, what if I don't like it? I'm like, well, then you learned you don't like it and you wasted $10. Like, the world keeps going.
Yeah, like you can't try new things unless you try new things and see if you like them or not. Like,
you got to accept that there's some risk here that you're not going to like it.
Yeah, no, people want everything to be perfect.
We don't live in a world where you can like get the thing first and then decide what it was worth to you and then pay after the fact.
Yeah, I would love it if there was some way to guarantee that you would never be disappointed in anything in life. Fuck.
Maybe we'll get like some machines in our heads and then like you play a game, free at first, and then like we measure how much you enjoyed it, and then we just pull it out of your bank account. So,
yeah.
He enjoyed $85.38 worth of that game, so just yank it out. But until then, you're just gonna have to suck it up. So $70, nah, I'm not pressed.
Yeah, and if that really, really bothers you, well, be more discretionary in what you buy, like a normal person. Shit, like, it's not, y'all stop making life so fucking hard. It ain't that hard, like, especially with shit like this. Like, I find like, shut up, Michael. Just shut up.
I will say this, especially because a lot of these games are so long. Like I just mentioned, this year I did Red Dead Redemption 2, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us 2. Like, if you play them at like a healthy pace instead of like a psychotic like person like me, they should hold you over for a while anyway. So it's not like you're paying like $70 every 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, most of us don't have the like time or the energy to, like, such as myself, to fucking sit and binge a game. If you can do that, that's cool. But like, and I think again, I guess this goes back to the whole like, it's just the hardcore people kind of pushing certain things and caring about certain things as opposed to a regular person. A regular person is going to see a game. They're going to hear, oh, I heard this is cool. So they're going to pop in God of War, and it's going to take them at least a month to beat it, if not longer.
Yeah.
Because they're going to play it like on their day off. They're going to play a couple of hours before they go to the mall or back in normal times, I would say. Now, I could see people playing through games easier because most people are in the house. But in regular times, quote unquote, you got other things to do or that's going to grab your attention. So,
I will say, even if you binge it like I do, you still get kind of burned out because I started up Dragon Age Origins, like the first one last week or so. Somebody suggested I'm like in the beginning, the voice acting's interesting. Like I'm enjoying it well enough, but I had to stop because, like I said, I've been going through those like long ass games all year. I was like, I just don't have it in me right now. I need to play like smaller shit. I played like a little side scroller detective thing called Jenny the Clue a little while back, playing some like small VR shit. Like I needed a break from like these like 50, 60, 80-hour
Yeah,
games.
when people get mad at me when I say I'm fine if a game's less than 10 hours or is around 10 hours and it's still $60, I'm just like, well, yeah, because I just want to play a fucking game, y'all. I'm not really trying to like spend the whole year. Like, it's hard for me to complete games because I just don't want to sit for 80 hours all the time. I don't even want to sit for 20 or more hours all the time through a game. I kind of like just want to play. Like, you know how I feel about Red Dead. Red Dead was a fucking pain for Red Dead 2 because it just was so fucking long. It was like, yo, good Lord, why are all these different chapters so long? I swear that game was 10 hours per chapter, and it was like 5 chapters.
So, especially if the cost of those games that are smaller scale, then I mix them into my diet. And I'd say that to say like, oh, $70, blah, blah, blah. If you're playing it like, whether you're binging like me or whether you're taking your time, it's not like you're going to buy 100 games at 70 a pop. So it shouldn't be that big a deal.
Yeah.
Like I bought a couple of AEW's pay-per-views and they're like 50 a pop. And I'm willing to do that because they only have like 4 of them a year anyway. So like, whereas I was never willing to do that with like WWE because
you got like, dude, are they still on the 2 a month thing? I feel like they're still on the 2 per month shit.
I don't know. I haven't paying as much attention, but you know what I mean? Like the cadence is smaller, so it doesn't feel like it's big. It's financially, it's not as much of a burden because I don't need to pay for it that often.
Yeah.
I regretted the last one, but still, it's not that big a deal.
But you know what? Out of all the ones that you bought, would you say like were most of them enjoyable?
Yeah. Revolution was definitely worth
You're gonna
it.
have
Second was fine.
So you got a bad one in the mix. It happens.
I didn't kill myself. You never know what's gonna be like until after you go through it. So it is what it was.
Yeah.
I'm typically not one of those people that's like, I want my fucking money back. Like, if I ever ask for my money back, you have to like completely not deliver the product at all. Like if I ask my money back for food, you pretty much have to have not given me the food in the first place.
Oh no, I will say like it has to be with food. It has to be something that it just like, oh, okay, I'm getting sick. I can't. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. I mean, same thing with this because like I saw people because the consensus for a lot of people was that last AEW show sucked, and I saw people like, oh, I want my money back, blah blah blah. I'm like, look, they gave you their 3 hours worth of fuck they said they were gonna do. You know, just gonna have to bite the bullet on this one and see if you want to pay for the next one or not. You need to get over it.
Yeah, nah.
I'm sorry it was ass, but
yeah, people.
We're playing Russian roulette with our money here. Sometimes you're gonna get shot.
Yeah, like I remember like boxing back in the day. Like it's funny because boxing, I think, is the best way to equate this because you could make an argument that Mike Tyson fights in his heyday, in his prime, were the worst value ever for anything. Motherfucker knocked people out within the first like 90 seconds a lot of times of a fucking fight. You're paying $60 for a pay-per-view to see this motherfucker do a minute and a half of work. Because
how much the UFC fight for like that first Punk fight cost? Because there was like a lot of buzz, and then that kid.
Well, the good thing is it wasn't the main event. That's the thing,
right?
But just imagine like if the Punk fight was the main event, and you just saw him get destroyed within the first 2 minutes, like he did.
Paid that money, like.
But you know what? That's again going back to the boxing thing. That's what could happen sometimes. Because I remember, and I know 90 seconds is a Mike Tyson fight because I remember one of the first pay-per-views I actually saw at someone's house. One of my sisters, when she was married, her husband invited everybody over for the fight, you know. And, you know, they have preliminary stuff, but nobody's really there for the preliminary. The preliminary is just background noise. So you're there, people are eating, getting hyped, and then it's like, oh, it's time for the Tyson's fight. Yeah, let's get ready. And in comes, like, Michael Spinks, you know, looking like, you know, a dead man walking that he was. And then in comes Tyson, and everybody, yeah, let's go watch the Tyson fight. And, like, again, literally within 90 seconds, he drops this motherfucker Fight's over. Good night. Go home, everybody. And I'm just like wow. Like, now for me, it was cool because the spectacle of seeing just how like ferocious this guy is and doing. He's like, good Lord. He barely broke a sweat. But for some people, they're like, this it? Are you serious? And then I gotta think, like, think about the people who bought tickets. Those tickets are worth like thousands of dollars in some cases and all that.
You sit down and go right back home.
So did you enjoy it or did you not? Now, if you enjoyed it, fine. If you didn't, well, it wasn't guaranteed that you were going to get a 12-round fight either. You never know.
Like, I can't imagine inviting somebody over to my house to watch a fight, and we settle in, and then like a minute and a half in, we're like looking at each other like, want to watch a movie?
That's pretty much what happened. It was like, oh, okay.
Y'all better have a backup plan if you're doing that shit. But yeah, life goes on. Games are, I don't know if Xbox announced the price for any of their games, but I'm assuming they're probably going to follow suit.
There probably are, but they're not going to say anything because Microsoft's going to play that game of like, let's just stay quiet, let Sony take the heat, and then when it happens, it happens. Yeah, it's going to happen. All games are going to eventually go up to 70. I think Microsoft's going to hold off a little last. The beauty for Microsoft is most games that they're going to release anyway, that they have as exclusives as of now, aren't AAA. They're like third-party things, so they can let the third-party people absorb the brunt of the heat. Now, when that Halo comes out, that's maybe when they will get some of the flack, but it'll be probably at a time where everybody else has pretty much established the $70 thing for next gen. So,
I mean, these studios have got to be pumping a lot of money into some of these fucking games. So, like, I'm not saying they're not, not making a profit or breaking even or whatever. I don't know what their business shit is, but I'm like, yeah.
Well, no, because I remember somebody made a breakdown. This was years ago, so I can't imagine what it costs now. But I want to say it was Cliffy B and not Randy Pitchford, although some may argue either one is a problematic person to be using as an example because of things they've done in their past. But they were basically saying, like, for most AAA games, you're going to spend somewhere on average in the realm of $60 million minimum to make it. This was a while ago. Now it's probably at least 150. I know Rockstar for GTA 5, they spent 250 million. Now, mind you, they've sold billions, so they made that money back. I mean, like so many games, they made that money back 20-fold. But think about like just the average back in the day. If it was just $60 million, now you pay $60 million for a game. Let me do the math here really quick. And games are $60 a pop, right? You'd have to sell at least 1 million games to get that $60 million back.
I'm sure the retailers and whoever else is involved is going to get some of that stuff.
But see, that's the thing, exactly. But like, ideally, if like it was just all about the $60, you'd have to sell at least 1 million. This is without. But you throw in things like production, printing these on discs and things like that. Hence why a lot of these companies are trying to get you away from discs because that's a cost that's coming out of their pocket too. But manufacturing for the discs and all of that, marketing, things like that. They got to sell games. They got to sell a lot of games. I would say probably to break even, at least 2 million with all that, at least 2 million, and then you want to go beyond that for these AAA games if they only spent $60 million. And again, we've had examples like Grand Theft Auto, which thankfully, like, that game has sold like so fucking well and it's still selling that they're still putting it on new consoles and shit like that. to sell again. So that's one of the rarities. They're the Marvel, you could say, of the video game world. That their movies just generate so much fucking money, like their costs are negligible. Not everybody has that luxury. So, yeah.
I'm not trying to make this into some big sympathy story for studios and shit, but I'm just saying. Like,
no, and I'm not either. It's business. It's like, you spend a certain amount of money, you want to make a profit, you're going to have to, create means. And I feel like this is kind of one of the nicer ways that they're doing it as far as businesses are concerned. Because, I mean, shit, you heard my rant about bacon. These companies raise bacon. I remember when, again, back when Obama was president, right after he had took control of office, and the whole economy was like just a mess after that bank shit that happened during the Bush administration. I remember bacon was something that was relatively, I won't say cheap, but you were spending probably half the price that you spent on bacon at the time when this all broke down. And now, like, it's fucking $6 a pack for not even a big pack of bacon, just for the smallest pack. Things like that. All because they're trying to shore up losses due to, people being broke and not being able to buy their products. This is in the case of people taking advantage of it, like, oh, well, it's a bad economy, so we're going to raise the prices and claim we're spending more money, like, and stuff like that. No, these companies have already been spending more money, and they've left things static for a couple of generations now, knowing that the costs are breaking them.
Yep.
And it took them till now. Like, they're not. It's not like they're, and it's still a standard. That's the funny part about it to me, is that if it's the $70 thing stick, it's still an across the board standard, which you never got before in the video game industry, which you never get in any other industry. To be quite honest, like, think about it. Even movie theaters have different prices.
Apparently,
AMC don't, huh? But no, it's seriously, AMC and Regal don't, charge the same ticket price.
No, I believe you. I remember telling somebody, like, it might have been you or Strict or something, like, I pay like $10, $12, something like that for a movie. And they didn't
and we were like, wow, you lucky, you like 15 at least. Here.
Different regions and shit. But yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not bothered. It was interesting to see. It's going to be kind of weird to get used to, I guess, because it's just been 60 for so fucking long that, like, when I see $69.99 on a game, I'm probably going to be like, oh, I wasn't asking for the ultimate edition. Oh, that's the standard. Okay. I think after buying a few games like that, I just won't notice anymore.
No, you won't. Especially if it's something that you really, really want. You're going to pay for it anyway. And that's what's going to happen. Like, you're going to start paying for those games that you really, really want. And then when everything becomes, it's just like anything in life. Like, you're going to complain at the beginning, but once it becomes the norm, just like with me and my rant with the bacon, once I get over it, because I literally almost bought a pack of bacon the other day, even after all of my grousing, because I like bacon.
Is it worth it to you? That's,
Yeah.
It's the question that just needs to be asked. And maybe it's not, and there you go. Then you wait until it is, and the price drops, I guess. Not that price drops it that fast either. Fuck it. Anything else we wanted to cover?
Nah, I think that's it. So, but I think we've firmly made our choice for video games. for next generation. Again,
PC.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. You touched on Game Pass earlier. I didn't mention this to you, but I actually just signed up for Game Pass the other day, since it was still $1 for the first month.
How you liking it?
So far, cool. Although I'll say right now, don't ask me because I'm playing like some old PC games, sadly, that I used to play back in the day. So I am not necessarily using it to its full potential. But looking at the library, I am like, okay, it's cool. You got a good mix of some older games that are interesting. It's weird that you don't get the full breadth of the Microsoft's exclusive library, but they never really promised that, so I can't really say anything about that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because, they said that you will be able to play games when they launch. That didn't mean that they were going to stay forever. And that's the thing about these game libraries that I think people need to realize is that not everything is going to stay up here forever. In fact, I'm looking at the Xbox app on my PC now, and leaving soon is Dirt Rally 2, Bad North, and Dishonored 2. So you won't be able to play those games on Game Pass. So, but I will kind of try some of the Microsoft stuff. I just need to get over the old things because they added Company of Heroes too, and I was like, oh shit, love Company of Heroes. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a real-time strategy freak when it comes to PC. But Resident Evil 7 just got added. So if you want to play Resident Evil 7, World War Z, Wastelands 3. And that new game, Tell Me Why. I think I want to try that, to be quite honest.
I've seen the name, but I'm not even familiar.
Yeah, it's one of those games that's kind of like, what's the name of that game with the girl?
It's a Backstreet Boys game.
Powers. No.
Tell me
Life is Strange. It's
right.
Like a Life is Strange type.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to try that out. But yeah. I mean, it's cool to have that. Maybe, well, I know I am going to use it for, what's his name? Gears of War 5, is it? Because I feel like I need to continue that story. So I don't know why.
Trapped.
I just feel compelled to see like if it's going to build a better impression on me than it has after playing 4. But yeah, that's about all I have.
Other than that, I'll just say COVID's weird. Before we hopped on, we were looking at Zendaya, who got whatever fucking award she got, sitting in her house, I guess, with her family.
Best outstanding lead actress. She was the most outstanding lead actress in a dramatic series.
And, cheers for her. But just the image of people, like, sitting in their homes on a webcam, like, I'm getting sick of it.
Hey, she did it right, though, because her whole family got decked out like they went with her to the Emmys.
Sure. I mean, that's what you do. You shouldn't be gathering in big groups and all this shit, Pandemic is still a thing, but
if it's family, you're probably already together, so that's fine.
Yeah, like, there's nothing wrong with what she did. I'm just, like, emotionally, culturally, like, oh, my God. I'm so sick of like, what's that show called on HGTV? Love It or Listed. For those of you guys who don't know, it's like a show where there's this dude and this lady. The dude is like a realtor, I guess. So he tries to like find this couple a new house, and the lady is like a interior designer. So she tries to like fix their current house, and then at the end, they decide whether they're gonna love their current house, love it, or whether they're gonna like use the newfound property value to put it on the market, list it, so they can buy that other house. And I looked at like a latest episode, and like both these motherfuckers are at their own houses doing shit over like webcams and shit. Like, oh my God, it's so weird. Like, you're not even taking them to the house. The realtor guy isn't even taking them to the house. He's just like on a webcam, and they're just like walking through the house themselves.
I mean, hey, that's what you just want to see the house. You don't need to physically be like, fuck, do you need to thump the wood to see if it's okay?
It's just weird. I just don't like it. I'm not saying that they should just, throw caution to the wind and go get together for their camera shots and shit. I'm like,
especially after they just confirmed today that yes, COVID is airborne. So
I just need get us that vaccine, not to save lives, but to make my TV shows less awkward.
And just do like Tyler Perry. Create your own bubble and record 19 shows in a day. He did that, by the way.
What a weird gentleman.
Well, no, it wasn't a day. Maybe in like 2 or 3 days, they did 19 episodes.
Regardless, he's weird.
I mean, when you pedal out like fluff, you don't really need time. You don't really need like a lot of time because you're not caring about quality.
Didn't this dude dress as a lady? Why are we going after him? Hold on.
He's a billionaire. Leave him alone.
He dressed as a lady. Fuck this guy.
You transphobic son of a bitch.
I meant because he did it and he's not of that ilk. Anyway,
see, JK,
I don't have the vocabulary.
JK, calm down.
I was being the woke one going after him for not actually being, I was going to say trans. I was like, you know what? I don't actually have the vocabulary underneath me to actually shit on him. So
everybody tweet like Cardiac and just tell him like,
because I'm going to be like, I'm going to be like, Tyler Perry's transphobic. And they're like, that's not what it means. I'm like, oh, sorry. I don't know what word I was supposed to use to shit on him.
He's a periophobe. That's what you are.
I am. I don't like this. I don't like his work.
Periophobe.
I don't like his work. I'm not into it. I'm not saying I hate this motherfucker, but I watched some of his movies. I'm like, yeah, they're fine, I guess. I don't know how you're this rich motherfucker, but what makes me the asshole? Apparently he's nice with his money, but
yeah, I mean, sure.
But still, fuck him.
And I guess that's the perfect way to end this show. God damn. All right. And I'm the asshole. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this ridiculousness. Love to hear your opinions on the new consoles and what you think. What are you getting, too? If you're getting anything, because some of us are just either too broke, like moi, or just don't really, feel the need to rush, like Cardiac, to get one. But we take donations, so remember that. Consoles are good donations.
Some of us take sexual requests, i.e. black.
No. Again, like, you're not going to see any, like, Pornhub videos with the title, like, the things you could do with a DualSense coming from me, so.
Oh, I guess for the first time in a long time, I've got a little book recommendation. I got it on my desk here. I don't know if you guys can see that.
It's a physical book, too. Wow.
It's just a little book of poetry. It's called And Then Came the Flood, a collection of sorts by Lacey Roop. It's just some of her poetry.
So I feel like the title is so horrible right now because considering what the world's going through. Like, and then came the flood. Oh, shit. The fires, like hurricanes, now floods. God damn it.
It came out in 2012, I think. So just throw that out there. It's old. Not old, but like, it wasn't like some sort of flippant title for the moment. But yeah, I dig it. I dig her poetry. Check it out, I guess, if you're into poetry.
There you go. All right. Again, thank you everybody for listening, watching, and all that good stuff. Check out our social media links in the bottom, and we'll do proper podcasts soon. I'll get my life together sometime. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure something else will happen in the world that'll like prompt me to do a podcast. Trust me. I mean, put it this way: if you don't see a podcast anytime soon, know you will see one during the election because I'm hoping for good news. If it's bad news, I'm never doing another podcast in life because we're all going to be in internment camps anyway and shit like that.
I was gonna laugh because like just during the elections, everybody's gonna be looking here for like, oh, what they're gonna say, and it's just gonna be like cooking streams or some random cooking videos or something stupid.
Yeah.
I'll be like drawing, even though I can't draw, just like doing anything. But like, I don't see what's happening over there, you know?
Right. Like, well, no, we will do our podcast. It's going to be called Canada Live as we come live from our new home. Please, Canada, please open your borders to me if things go wrong in November.
Need to learn their anthem real quick.
Oh, Canada. That's all I know.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go to UK somewhere. Somebody has to have a better song than that. I'm sorry, Canada. I mean, I like to keep y'all as a backup plan, but if that's your song, I can't bump to that. Come on.
He just like lost his rights to Canadian bacon and maple syrup.
Fuck it. We need to update the world songs. These are stupid and boring and old and trash. I said it. That's why nobody knows the songs. They're boring. They're fucking boring. They're fucking. I'm gonna be killed by an FBI agent.
Right. It's like it's a case. I mean, you're in California, so you're kind of safe. You're surrounded by enough sane people, or at least who are not patriotically fanatical.
You know what should have happened, like in the last 20 years or so? The American national anthem should have been a rap song before rap got shitty. That's all I'm saying. I don't do it now.
That's the last thing they would have wanted at all. Come on, dude.
It would have helped. Can you imagine, like, George Bush having to rap?
I don't need the person coming up to rap the national anthem to get shot at a game, sir. No, let's not do that. Anyway, we need to end the show. Your camera's going off the air.
Yep.
So we should go off the air too.
Sorry. I guess I touched the keyboard.
Yes. All right, everybody. Goodbye. Read his book about the apocalypse. Buy your consoles. Get happy. Play video games. Vote. All that good stuff. All right, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time. Peace.